regardless, at least Titan 1 was never. Then on top of it, if you look at the F series, originally Atlas Fs were only to have 9 missiles. There was going to be an extra squadron. Okay. And instead of 6, there was going to be 7. And it was then changed when President Kennedy became president in 1961. At that point, it reverted back. They're just going to add 3 more sites to every existing squadron. And during construction, that's where you see 2 separate numbers. You see a construction number, and then you see an operational number. And even to this day, people get confused. I can't tell you how many times I constantly correct them, because I'm saying, is this a construction number or is this an operational number? And then I'll have to go back and do I have them memorized? Yes, for the walker sites, but I can't do that on all the squadrons.
Yeah, it's the same thing with the names of the townships and all that.
Oh, yeah, everything always. Well, and I mean, that was true of Titan 1. Look at the Batum site. Officially, They called it Odessa.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is. So what you would get used to is, was it technically 568A? Yeah, it was. Regardless. Now, it made it easy for 568B, which was Wharton, because it was basically just outside the city limits of Wharton, Washington.
Right.
And then Royal City was really easy because, 568C.
Some of the New York Atlas Fs are borderline as far as townships and all that.
Oh, I mean, most of them you're going to see 2 different names constantly. I mean, even to this day, that even if you go back to the pure operational names, they're all different. I mean, I don't think so much that really changed that heavily. Nothing like Atlas for Titan. I mean, I can almost say that it didn't occur for Live Oak. I don't believe it occurred for Lincoln, and I don't believe it occurred for Chico. And then, of course, the culminating exercise was the Chico site. During construction, during the when they were doing the blowout phase of the tanks on the propellant loading side of it, there was the explosion that blew nearly half of one of the launchers up.
That's right.
Along with the propellant terminal. So if you really look at the road's not a standard path. That's how you can physically always tell it when you look at the aerials for the Chico site. And I love what the kids at Cal State Chico or Chico State did. They wrote there on the old blacktop. They wrote Chico rules. I thought that was kind of cute. It even had its original bore sight tower. The only other bore sight tower I'd ever seen was at 395 Alpha.
Really?
Vandenberg.
Well, I remember Chico, and I remember seeing Boresight Tower and saying, what the hell is that?
Oh, I know. Oh, yeah. And see, orientation targets.
Yeah.
And instead of azimuth markers. Oh, my God. This is...
Well, I don't think I've ever seen 395 Boresight Tower.
Yeah, it's there. It's off to the side. It's just sitting there.
By the orientation targets?
It's it's off to the side. It's closer to where the launch operations building was. See, OSTF, when OSTF-1 blew up, is just over the hill. You can be at Launcher 1 and look down, and you can see the OSTF-1 site.
Yeah, it's probably 1,000 foot. It's not very far.
No, and you look down there and you can see it. And if you look, the access road to, I think it's 395 Bravo.
Titan 2.
Yeah, there's a big chunk of the OSTF-1 next to the road But the ice plant had nearly covered it up. I don't know if I got a picture of it on Siloworld when I was there, but you'll see it's kind of funny. That's how far it blew it. I mean, it's just like you're going, whoa. And so in the infinite wisdom, the building was an above-ground building for the launch operations for Titan 1.
For what site?
395 Alpha.
Okay.
Okay.
Why?
So what they came up with is they built 4 giant piers. Now you'll see the piers are still there, very tall structures. And what was originally hung was like nearly, I don't know if it was 3/4 or 1-inch cable intertwined as a mesh to span between these 4 uprights over that entire ceiling of that building.
So I'll ask you this.
Another site blew up.
Why, if you're going to build 3 147 or 57-foot silos,
Yeah, I get it.
why wouldn't you make the LCC underground?
Well, I mean, look, Bryce, you bring up a really good question. I mean, I'd love to, I'm not too sure now in my life I'm ever going to get the answers to a lot of those questions. And that's one of them. I mean, it's in none of the books I've got. And I've looked, everybody I talk to, and I think you would have to go back to some of the architects. I think you would have to go back to the / engineering companies.
Well,
I mean, because the 4C, if we now move again back to the Lowry Titan 1 sites in 4C that this gentleman bought, I mean, the kid that did get it before, damn it, I wish I could remember his name. The architect engineer of those sites was the Ralph M. Parsons Company in Los Angeles as the architect. He went to them, and by God, they found they had in storage the original blue line blueprints. And I remember he was telling me it cost him even back then, this is 20 years ago, almost $5,000.
damn.
Because the prints were so expensive.
That's crazy.
And see, at one point I was supposed to get quite a few of the prints from it, but I don't know what. I hope Pete got them. Because you see, if you go back to the collection that Fred had, see, Fred lived in the basement of his mother and father's. And his dad was on he wasn't launch crew for Titan 1, but he was on the maintenance crew, so he knew all of them. And I remember meeting his father. And I had just bought a new Land Rover, and I was in Denver picking it up, and I said, while I'm here, I'm going to, as much as I've talked to Fred, every Sunday night I called him and I was kidding him. I said, Fred, I'm in town. Let's get together, right? And so anyway, I met up with Fred. And after we went to dinner for a couple nights, and I was in the basement where he had everything. And he was taking me through some of the books of the photographs that he had that I didn't have yet. And in there, you literally could see, he opened up the book, and then I got confirmation of the photographs of the launcher doors at 4A with the rams on it, still on the door. And see, Fred also got, and it was 4C. I know it was 4C. He has the cover to the 3 clocks that was hung from the ceiling that had the 3 different times.
Yeah, Moscow.
There was a sign that was around those. Fred got that.
That's nice. Awesome.
So it was still there when Fred got it. And but that was, of course, years before these guys ever stepped into the game. But even so, but Fred had that, because I remember commenting on it. And then he got a bunch of the blueprints. He got Vandenberg to give him a complete set of blueprints for 395 Alpha, Strategic Missile Squadron.